So I think it all started for me right from birth. My mother was 32 years younger than my father when I was born, and my father was a safe cracker, a thief. And the apple never fell far from the tree, let me tell you. So, mom has a problem with men that she's chose her whole life. She always chose the wrong one. She went from one to another to another. Always the whole time having a bottle or some type of mood altering substance to hold it down. But God bless her, she busted her ass, went to school, got a nursing degree, and took care of us kids real good. Now I'm the baby of the family, but that doesn't mean I was treated as such. I was a fucking rough kid to be with. I mean, I was loud. I kept my stepdad up, my mom up. I mean, I was hyperactive. I found medication when my mom introduced it to me when I went to a doctor, and it was called Ritalin. And it, I guess it calmed me down. I don't quite remember. I was young. Just in my teens. But when I started realizing it was doing something to me, I had to think for a second on what it was doing to me, and I still didn't know what it was. But I look back on it now, and there was addiction and there was drugs my whole life. I mean, mom taught me how to lie when the truth would fit better, because you're supposed to keep secrets in the family and not let family business out on the street. And so I learned to lie. I kept it quiet. The use of my mom, the use of my stepdad, even the use of my sisters, who were 8 and 5 years older than me, living in the house. Now, my sisters were hot, and I just wanted to hang out with them and be like them. All my friends just thought my sisters were hot. And to this day, I still don't know why, because they're still my sisters. I think they're disgusting. Everybody thinks they're beautiful. My sisters handed me a $20 bill one time, and they said, "We're gonna need your help here because we're throwing a party." Now, I'm 12 years old at the time. I'm on Ritalin, and for some reason everything feels real heightened to me. I remember that. I wasn't on the walls so much anymore. But I was excited to help my sisters, right? They were throwing a party. It was a kegger, a toga kegger, in fact. There was people running around in just bed sheets. It was really interesting to watch. So my job was to take their empty cups and go from the keg to the person and refill their cup. $20. Needless to say, before the night had even really begun, I was puking in the bathroom. And that's where I found out I didn't really like to get drunk, if that's what drunk was. My sisters couldn't take care of me. One of her friends had to. And when my parents came home the next day, the house was obliterated. And their son was still numb in the face and body from alcohol poisoning, because the things I was drinking was not the beer in the keg. It was the nice drinks that tasted like fruit, and that was in a big cocktail bowl that was making me numb. It was jungle juice. I was drinking the wrong juice. So I kept my mouth shut. I earned $20, right? What happened to the house? What happened to the house? Now the girls had to deal with that shit, so it was just another lie that I learned how to do. Now, my mom and dad got a divorce because my dad was a beaten drunk. He was a doctor, and he saved other people's lives, and I never could understand how come he could save other people's lives and come home and fuck mine up. And I guess some of it was my fault because I was hard to raise. I would throw it in his face that he's not my father and I didn't have to listen to him. I'd catch a beating here or there, but that didn't really matter because by the time you get your ass kicked so many times, it doesn't really hurt. What hurts is being ignored. What hurts is you learn to lie so much that you didn't know what was real and what was not. And that's my case then. So, they decided to divorce. My mom came home one day and I was black and blue, my face, and all over my back and my ribs, so she divorced him. And my first real fight came shortly after. And I was 12, turning 13. My parents are divorced. Here comes Mother's Day, and we were at my sister April's house. Beautiful woman. She had her first child. We're over there for Mother's Day, and here comes my drunk stepdad. Yelling at my mom for leaving him, yelling at April for always sticking up for me, and then just not really yelling at me. He was just kind of ignoring me, but just yelling. And I was starting to get some size, and I think I was hitting puberty because I felt stronger, but I was pretty focused too. And so I yelled real loud for him to quit yelling at my people. And he turned around and he said, "What are you gonna do?" And I continued to yell. I picked up a big red wiffle ball bat, the big plastic ones. That was my baby niece's. And I put it in my hand, and I didn't know for sure if I had the balls to do it or not. But when I said, "I told you to quit yelling at her," he spun around and I hit him in his face. Wham! And his nose went into a ketchup packet, and his whole face turned red and purple, like it was a welt slap, if you know what a big red wiffle ball bat is. And then he threw me the worst beating I ever had in my life, and I woke up in a hospital with a concussion and a broke jaw. It was just my mom there. And I asked her, "So what happened? What happened?" She said, "Well, you hit your stepdad in the face with that bat, and he just went at you." And I was like, "What jail did he go to?" She says, "He's not in jail. You started that fight." I told the hospital that you had fallen down the stairs. So I didn't, it hurt right then, but I tried not to let her see it. And if she did see it, we never talked about it. But she told me she didn't like the way my eyes looked, and that she was pulling me off this medication, Ritalin, that I was on. And I didn't know it at the time, but that had a major effect on me because my body went through some changes. So to make a long story short, now I'm with a mom I don't trust, no father, because they divorced. My real father died when I was 1.5 years old. He was an old man when they conceived me. I mean, they're both probably perverted. Who the hell goes and gets married and has sex with a girl 32 years younger than him? The hell was he thinking? The hell was she thinking? So I'm lost. My sisters are gone. I'm by myself. I meet a great group of guys. I'm talking my friends with the shit. They helped me get into sports harder than I was already going. And they used to love to beat me up, but they're telling me it was for my greater good. They were making me tough. I didn't know it at the time, but we had made our own little gang, little clique, just to keep us all together. None of us had dads. We were all being raised by our moms, and everybody had something fucked up with them. Damn, we were a great group. And we still are, the ones of us that are alive. And so my body's feeling weird. I don't quite know what I'm doing. I'm trying to impress my new group of friends who are all 4 and 5 years older than my seniors. Remember, I'm 13 years old. And here I got these guys that like me, and I don't know why they like me. Why? I'm a little kid to them. So I steal some of my mom's weed. Maybe this will make these guys like me even more. I mean, hell, everybody smokes this shit, right? I took that weed from my mom and I brought it to my friends, and they looked at me crazy. Where'd you get this? And I said, oh, I found it on the street. Oh, really? Fuck, well, let's indulge in that. And you know what? My friends liked it, and I liked it, but it made me do something that I'd never felt before. It wasn't like I was smoking a cigarette with my sisters or stealing out of their pack. This was completely different. And it made my body feel a little bit normal. Well, lo and behold, I was finding a lot of weed on accident here and there. I don't know how many people dropped all that weed on the streets. I mean, my friends were tripping. Like, how do you keep finding all this weed? Never told anybody what was going on till my mom divulged the information herself. Because you got to keep the secrets in the family, right? You can't tell nobody. Got to keep your mom safe. Mom's a nurse. Mom deals with the public. Anybody knows that she loses her job, there's no way to eat, no house, all that. So it was a good lesson to learn in my brain that you lie when the truth will fit better. My friends grow up real quick. They all graduated real fast. And I was in high school by myself. And I'm getting in these fights. Left and right. I ended up in detention. I had some girls, 3 girls, who told their mothers and the school that I tried to rape them. And I had a policeman show up at my house with a gun. And he knew something was fishy about what he had heard, because how do you rape 3 girls at one time? But he had to come and get me anyway, because their parents were wanting me arrested and to be charges pressed on me. So he comes and arrests me. They take me to the police station. I'm just a kid. And they tell me what I'm being arrested for. And how do I get in contact with your parents? And I thought of my mom. God, they can't go to my house. I can't tell my mom. I mean, there's weed in the house. So I called my stepdad, Bill. And he showed up with a lawyer and a sweaty wad of money in his fucking hand. I went to detention anyway. They couldn't get me out until everything had been washed out in courts and what was going on, and they put me in a different type of detention. It was called the O&A, Observation and Assessment. They observed me for 90 days and put me through a battery of tests, mental tests, weird questions, all kinds of weird shit. They took semen samples, they took skin samples, all this stuff that really made me uncomfortable. And so when it's time for court, the girls were busted in a lie, and they were charged with something called perjury, where you tell somebody, you lie on somebody, you can get charged for that. So they got caught in the lie. My lawyer attacked them, went after their parents. Everything got washed out. There was no more charges. They were sorry. All of a sudden, their mother, one of the woman's mothers, having to write my mom a check for me being gone in time and all this other stuff, so that they wouldn't be any more charges pressed on their daughters. That was kind of neat. Now I get money. So Mom's back in my corner because I held fast and I didn't call anywhere or tell anybody about her, and I did it the best way I could. Now, my stepdad had this big sweaty wad of money, and he showed back up again with that big handful of sweaty money. And he said, that was the first and the last time that I will ever come and help you, whether you were innocent or not. And he handed me this money. And he said, don't ask me for anything again. This is all I've got for you. Him and my mom went in the back. I'm sure they had sex now that I'm an adult and think about it. Because I could smell weed and hear sounds. And I just kind of blocked it out. Because I was looking at this fucking sweaty wad of money. And sizing my own parents up. I have a child on the way shortly after. Sexually active. I'm a lost, disconnected teen. And now I'm about to be a father. I'm scared and I lash out and I commit my first crime. It was assault, theft. Right back to juvie I went. I spent 8 months there. I got out just in enough time to see my son be born. He was beautiful. Man, my good buddies were, some of them were back from leave because they were, some were in the military, some were already here, just older. But I had them all in the hospital. All of them were in the waiting room, and they were all cheering loud. I mean, they were so loud when I came out and said I have a son. They started screaming. They got kicked out of the hospital. These boys were nuts, and they still are. The only difference was is now they're all grown up, and some of them are wearing different colored bandanas. All of them matching the same color, of course, but they looked really bad. And a couple of them were wearing leather jackets with other things on them that signified where they were at. A couple of them had military insignia. It was kind of neat to see, and it felt good to have them back. It felt real good for a long time. I didn't use any hard drugs, any weed. I didn't even really drink. From my son's birth on, for a long time I was happy. I was forgiven for the stuff that I had done. But at the same time I was always pushed out at the same length. I was making people a little bit nervous because I had a temper and a short fuse. Anyway, so my baby mama cheated on me. And I kind of took it to heart. I threw a fit, you know what I mean? Which I should have, because I was cheating on her to begin with. I mean, I've been a horny man my whole life. I had no room or no right to throw a fit like I had thrown a fit with her. I was a hypocrite. Taught to lie, and I was really good at it. So, we split. And I decided to play the woe is me card to myself, and I started to believe my own shit. And I found me some cocaine. And the cocaine got really, really sticky because I'd snorted it, and it was really all over my face, and I didn't like it. So when I hawked it back, I finally got that drip, and I got that numbness, and oh my goodness, it was on and popping. A little quiet rush. And I turned it on to a couple of my friends. Like, look at this, you guys, look, give me some cocaine. Man, they were excited too. Let's do some cocaine. Man, where'd you get this? Don't tell me you fucking found it, man. No, man, got it from some nigga off the street. My friends are racist, so they're like, figures, niggers are always doing cocaine. But I was told not to do that much. Don't do this a lot, man. This is a harder drug, Lance. This one can get you. Didn't care, didn't understand. I don't even think I heard what he said, to tell you the truth, but I do remember being warned. And it was cool to have sex on. My sons are older. I'm doing all right. I'm working. I'm still more disconnected from my family than I'd ever been at this point in my life. I just didn't know where I sat with them, nor if I trusted them. And what sucks too, because they were starting to really clean up their act, minus my mother. My sisters were strippers, and they were making killer money. And my whole life they had showed me off and on to dance. And that's when it really clicked to me that maybe my friends weren't my friends. Maybe they were just coming to my house to see my sisters because they were cute and stretched, and they were all dancers and they were doing this thing. So I started questioning everything real quick. And this is an eye opener for me right here, because are my friends my friends? My family is my family my family? Who the hell can I really trust? What's going on? And I didn't know that the drugs would have a psychological effect on me, and it made me question everything. And the drugs had a little help with it. But I kept it to myself, and my sisters, God love them, I was bitching about money. They were like, well, why don't you strip? You mean take my clothes off like you girls? Get on stage, do it like that? They're like, yeah, man, you can do a male amateur night and make some money on stage. And that was fun. Scary at first. It was like losing my virginity again. And I was built. Man, me and my friends played sports growing up. We wrestled, man. We did everything. I looked great. Brick little body. But that first little rush of that scaredness was awesome. Especially when I figured out that that thing paid money. And the women were all over me. Sick ass women. And it still makes me smile to think about it now. This shit was fun. And then we did private parties. Private parties were where the real money was at. And I thought for sure I could trust my friends to help me, right? I was like, yeah, so come on, man. You guys have been around. I could trust you somewhat in my brain. I trust you with this. You guys keep these girls at bay and help me pick up the money. I had no idea that women could be that aggressive. Man, I only did a private party a few times and not ever again, because that shit's, it might as well be called abuse. They fucking raped me. It fucking sucked. But I made great money. I learned I could start to womanize other women like that. I could use their wants and their desires against them, because I knew what they wanted, right? I mean, I was raised by these girls, raised by my sister and my mom. And not to mention the fact that I now have the plug for the cocaine. Girls love cocaine. So I kept doing it in front of my friends too. And I had one friend tell me, he said, look, man, I think you're starting to get a problem, and I'm going to tell your mother. I don't think I even really listened to him, but I heard him say he was going to tell my mother. I thought he was bullshitting. He told her. And I was confronted, and of course I lied, right? I mean, I'm being confronted, I'm being put in a corner, I feel defensive, I lied to her. I'm not doing any cocaine. Fuck, she saw right through me. She asked, so you got any on you? That sent me for a loop. Yeah, man, I got some on me. What the hell? She said, let me see what it looks like. I did my first line of cocaine with my mom. She says, Lance, I've been in the medical industry a long time. She says, this stuff used to be used for pain medication way back in the day. They used to put Coke in Coca-Cola. They used to do Coke. They used to put cocaine in a lot of shit. And all I heard was that was safe then, right? I mean, everybody's done it before. I didn't really pay attention to the fact that shortly after she said all that, she says, this stuff will kill you. Create an addiction for you. Stop your heart if you do it in the wrong ways, or you do too much of it. Oh, fuck. So I promised her I wouldn't do any in a lot amount. And I think I even told her that I wouldn't do it no more. So now I started to hide it from the fact I didn't get high with cocaine with my friends, with my mom, with nobody. Smoke a little grass here or there. And then I commit another crime. But before I tell you how I committed that crime, I fuck. I'm needing money. I don't know what to do. My mom tells me, you need some money, son? Yeah, Mom, real bad. She says, I ain't got any to loan you. But my boyfriend had taught me how to grow some really good marijuana, and I've got some marijuana. You can have it if you can sell it and make some money. But you gotta make me some money too. So here comes my first adult crime. No, not my first adult crime. My second, sorry. My second adult crime. Now I'm a big-time felon, though, because I got busted for distribution of marijuana and possession with intent to distribute. It was a quarter pound of weed, and I sold it to an undercover cop who had me on tape. He looked like a biker to me. Fuck, man, I don't know no better. Looked like a biker. And now he had me on tape, and he had my mother on tape. And he asked me, he says, so that lady's your mom, what does she have to do with this? And I looked him dead in his face, and I said, she's got nothing to do with this. In fact, I'm about to get my ass beat by her. She was just my ride. She doesn't even know I was trying to sell some weed. I'm just trying to make some money. I gave him the biggest bullshit story that I could come up with right off the rip to save my mom's ass. And he looked at me, and I know that cop knew I was full of shit, but he had nothing on her. And I took the rap. And he says, well, then let's go over here and find out what's really going on. I'm going to go and check out your mom. And so when he walked me over to my mom in handcuffs, all she could do was look me in my face. And before he said anything, I looked at my mom. I said, Mom, I just got caught selling weed. Please don't hate me. I just needed some money, and I didn't dare to ask you. And I lied to you to get you to give me a ride here. And she was staring at me the whole time. And she said, thank you for the truth, son. I went right to jail. Right to jail. Now, I sat my ass in jail this time for 6 months, 180 days. And then I had to do another 90 days in a work release camp. Back then it was called Page. And that was different. You know what I mean? I was not in my element. I got in a few fights, and fights I understood. Women I understood. Drugs I thought I understood, but I didn't understand my mom, and I thought about it for those long months, because guess what? I didn't get a visit from anybody. I was picked up out of jail by my friend Rick, my best friend. He's a great man. Picked me up from jail. I went and got my first tattoo. He said, man, fuck, you screwed up, man. You done this and that. Look at all the shit you've done now. Now we gotta get you a tattoo. We got matching tattoos, me and him. And he said, you want me to drop you off at your mom's? And I told him no. He said, well, where are you gonna go? I said, I'll figure it out. He said, no, for real, where do you want me to drop you off at? So I told him to drop me off at one of my buddies. I'll figure it out. And he was hesitant, but he did it. I met this girl named Cammie. She was beautiful at the time. I started staying with her. We got pregnant right off the bat. But she cheated on me with my friend Mike. And every time I saw this boy, I thought he was Mike's kid. I punched my boy Mike in the nose, forgave him, ultimately broke up with her for being a cheating whore, right? But I'm two-faced, remember, because I was cheating on her just like I was cheating on Tiffany. I didn't know who I was for many years. I had a daughter in that space of many years with another woman. So I've got 3 kids by 3 different women. I can't make any relationship stick. And I can't kick this fucking dope habit that I was hiding from everybody. And it makes me have some type of feeling and some type of shit right now just talking about it, because here I am shaking my fucking leg and I can remember everything, and there's so much to the story that I've left out because it's hard for me to process real quick. But now I'm a baby daddy at 3 with a habit, and by now I'm doing all kinds of drugs. There was crank out there, which was pretty fucking good, boy, let me tell you what, but it hurt your nose when you snorted it. And it was hard for me to find, so it wasn't too bad at that time. I didn't dare to do any PCP or heroin, too much to say, because when you do PCP, you jump out of windows thinking you're Superman and shit. And, too much heroin, of course, everybody, even growing up in school, knows that's going to kill you because it's an opiate. Too much and you're going down. Couldn't find that either. But the cocaine was there. And I learned how to rock it. So now I wasn't snorting it. I'm smoking crack. And that's a hell of a rush. Fuck, man. Baby mama number 3 was like, yo, check this out. Have you ever done IV drugs? IV drugs. She says, yeah, with a needle. Whoa, that scared me, right? That's some shit I heard on TV. I told her no, I didn't dare to. We ended up breaking up because I was having some rough times. So, she cheated on me. Of course, I love women who cheat, because I should have known better. She was an escort and beautiful. And I was still a good looking man, and I was always cheating too. She never knew though, and I never let her know. I didn't want to hurt her feelings. And I don't know why, because she hurt mine. So I took a pistol and a bottle of Jack Daniels, and I went to my apartment, which we lived, which I just got kicked out of because we split, because I was throwing a fit that she cheated and I was kicked out. So anyway, make a long story short, I'm outside of my apartment with a pistol and a fucking bottle and a couple of lines of some cocaine and a marijuana cigarette.